Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in the YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing why moving on attracts your ex after months and months. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing why moving on attracts your ex after months and months. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, moving on might sound a strange suggestion. But hear me out. In today's podcast, I'm discussing 3 points to consider about why moving on can attract your ex back after months and months have passed. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is the terminology. Now let me know in the comments if you are more than 6 months after your breakup took place. Let me know in the comments and let's see what the community thinks. And point number 1, the first point that we're going to be discussing in today's podcast is the terminology and the concept of what exactly this podcast is all about. And as I said, we are discussing why moving on attracts your ex after months and months. But the first thing to say is that I'm not a fan of the terminology when we say moving on, or at least, in my opinion, it means something probably slightly different to what a lot of you may have heard previously. And that is, I differentiate between the concept of moving on and moving forward. In my opinion, moving on is where you close the door, you lock it, and then you throw away the key. And that might tie in with potentially you deleting your ex's number after maybe you have blocked them. And in all intensive purposes, you are reducing any realistic chance of them getting in contact with you. Now, of course, if you want to get your ex back, you don't want to be reducing almost all possibilities of how they can reach out to you. So I believe in something which I refer to as moving forward. Moving forward is where you focus on your own life. You live your life to the full, you become a version 2.0 of yourself, you are open to dating new people, you are not held back by the ghost of your ex, preventing you from possibly meeting someone even better than them. However, there is always the chance your ex could reach out to you, and hence, if and when they do, you can make a decision about whether or not you want to reconnect. I refer to that concept as moving forward. You might be somewhat closing the door as you concentrate on your own life, but you are certainly not locking it, and you're definitely not throwing away the key. So, as you can see, I do differentiate between moving on and moving forward, but I also appreciate that most people probably don't have that difference in how they use that terminology. And hence, in today's podcast, I am using the terminology of moving on, even though in my own explanation, it's not a true moving on. If you were to block your ex and then delete their number, contact from all socials, moving house and never telling anybody where you've moved to, etc., etc. If you are doing that, if you are doing a true moving on, well, that's going to be very, very difficult to get your ex back. So I thought it was important just to explain my concept of moving forward, and that is what I believe you should be doing. Yes, you are leaving that door ajar for your ex to reach out to you, but you're very much concentrating on you, and hence the focus is forward rather than looking backwards. Now, that isn't the only terminology I just wanted to focus on in point number 1. I also stated, of course, after months and months, and that is really, really important as well, because the clue is in the words. We're not talking about days. We're not talking about weeks. We're not even talking about a month or two. We're talking about months and months and months. We're talking 6 months and beyond. We're talking potentially more than a year in some instances. And of course, there is sadly no 100% guaranteed way to get an ex back. And therefore, even though I believe this concept can certainly increase your chance of success, can certainly start to regrow romantic emotional attraction and intrigue in your ex's mind, there is sadly no guarantee that your ex will get to that higher point of where they want to reconnect. And even if they do get to that stage, maybe by that point it will be too late, because, as I've already been mentioning, you may have found someone even better. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like and hype this video. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is to fill the void. Now this is something really, really important. And when we are talking about why moving on can attract your ex after months and months, the filling in the void concept is something which needs to be explained and understood. So first of all, we need to understand that to fill the void, there needs to be a void in the first place. Now, what exactly does any of this mean? Well, if we consider your ex-dumper, they have ended the relationship. They are moving on with their own life, and they are not going down the same path as you are right now. Now, you as a dumpee, you have a choice. If we are to make it as simplistic as possible, you can either try and stay within their life, or alternatively, you can focus on your own, as we've already been suggesting in point number 1. Now, if you decide not to take that advice, if you decide instead to try and stay within your ex-dumper's life, you will be making sure that they don't have a void in their own mindset. Because even though they ended a relationship, if you try and stay in contact with them, maybe they even offer you a friendship because they acknowledge there will be a void without you in their life, even though they only see you right now as platonic. Now, maybe they haven't offered you platonic friendship, but you are just continually trying to contact them. Texting, calling, knocking on their door, waiting outside where they work, doing things to always stay relevant to your ex and their thoughts. Now, you think you're doing a really good job in staying in their current mindset, but unfortunately, you are preventing a void from taking place in their mind. If you stay within their life, in whatever way, shape or form that looks, there is not going to be the void, certainly not a void in the shape of you. Now, if there is no void in the shape of you in their life, then how on earth can they start to miss you? So this is why we need to start understanding the concept. Your ex-dumper needs a void in their life. If they don't have a void in their life, then they're not going to be starting to miss you. Now, this isn't just connected with yourself. You know, we also have to understand that your ex, as mentioned, has decided to move down their own path. Now, what this means is that they will be trying to fill any void that may occur in their life with new things, new activities, new people, sadly, sometimes new dates. Eventually, of course, that will be their aim. I'm not suggesting it will happen anytime soon, but if we were to fast forward 5 years, the likelihood is they would certainly have tried to date a number of times by that point, and often, of course, a lot sooner. So whether it is within a few months, whether it is a year or so, from my own research, it's very hard to find a new compatible long-term partner any shorter than a year post-breakup. So the reality is, if they are dating within a year, you've probably got not too much to be concerned about. If it's beyond a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, sadly, they might be more likely to meet somebody compatible. That's just the reality of things. But whether they are actively dating or whether they are just filling their void by taking part in new activities, making new platonic friends, maybe they're doing some traveling, maybe they are deciding to try and start a business, maybe they're concentrating on their health and fitness, whatever it is, they will be trying to fill their own void. Now, this is something that, of course, you have very little to connect with, other than the fact that most of the time, a dumper trying to fill the void after your breakup, they're not actually going to be successful in doing it, certainly not for a long, long time. As I've said, it's very unlikely indeed that they will find a new, long-term compatible partner within the first year or so post-breakup. So what you could suggest is that for most dumpers, within the first year after the breakup, anything they try to do to fill that void that they now have post-breakup is most likely going to be unsuccessful. And hence, this is where you stand an opportunity of being missed by your ex. Because if they have a void in their life, they will start to naturally look back to a time when they didn't. And that would be when you two were together. This is why, as the months and months tick by, as long as you are not chasing your ex, as long as you are not accepting platonic friendship, as long as you are not helping them with that void yourself, as long as you are not giving them that hand, then when they try to do this by themselves, it is most likely to fail, certainly in the first 12 months or so. So as we can see, this will then get to the stage of where they have to reflect backwards. When was the last time I didn't feel that void? When was the last time I didn't feel that loneliness, but I can't really put my finger on, other than when it's my birthday and I just don't have anybody special in my life? Those types of feelings are what is going to be more likely to put you in their mindset in which they actually might start to miss you. And that is exactly what we need to take place if you are to get your ex back. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is use the time. Now, if you feel that this podcast could help others, please share it in breakup communities, groups, and servers. Let's help as many people as possible. And today, as we've been speaking about why moving on attracts your ex after months and months, what this means is you have time. Now, sadly, you will likely have understood this from the personal experience you are going through, which is if you have been dumped, you naturally have more time on your hands. The time that you were with your partner, you now don't have anything to do with, but you must make good use of it. And the reason as to why you must focus on using your time effectively is because you can use the time apart to inflate your offering. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it ties in with becoming that version 2.0 of yourself, becoming a better person today than you were yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today. Because, as we mentioned in point number 2, your ex-dumper is going to have a void in their life, a void shaped like you. Now, if you want to fill this void properly, you need to be inflating your offering. Now, you might think this sounds very confusing, but let's consider the fact that unfortunately, you were not deemed to be what your ex-dumper was looking for at the time of a breakup. Now, that isn't devaluing you as a person. It's not devaluing your relationship. It doesn't mean that the first 20 years of your relationship weren't brilliant. But what it does mean is at the time of a breakup, your ex-dumper had lost romantic emotional attraction. They didn't view you as a good fit for them at that time. So to connect it to today's podcast, what this basically means is not only does your ex-dumper have a void post-breakup, but you, as the person that they dumped, is not actually going to fill that void. Does that make sense? Please let me know in the comments if I'm explaining this in a way which makes sense. I hope I am. Because if you consider that they ended a relationship because they did not feel connected correctly to you, what this shows is that even though they will naturally have a void post-breakup due to the fact that you were in their life and now you are not, unfortunately, the person that you were when they dumped you is not going to fill the full void. Because here's the thing, they actually was feeling a little bit of void just before the breakup took place. In the days and weeks, maybe even months or beyond, before the breakup, they was feeling a little bit of void in their life. Hence, that is why they ended the relationship. So even if you come into their mindset, even if they reflect positively on you, if they reconnect with you and you are that same person that they dumped, well, unfortunately, a few months later, they will likely dump you again. You can't be the same person that they dumped. Because if you are, you will understand that sadly, you are not going to be what they are looking for. And hence, point number 3 is use your time wisely. Use your time to inflate your offering. So when they reflect positively on your connection, which is what is likely to take place when they understand but life is not so easy as a single person, they look back to the last time that they remember feeling somewhat whole, and you will be what goes into their mind. But what might be playing a trick on them is it might not actually be the you that they dumped. It might be the concept of a relationship, which maybe back in the day was fantastic, but sadly at the time of a breakup was not enough for them. So make sure within this time period, you inflate your offering so that if and when they come back to you, just in conversation at first, you can reattract them fully by showcasing you're a better person than they dumped, and hence you can fully fill the void.